Shalech teshalachas ha'eim v'sabonim tikach loch l'man yitav loch v'arachta yomim. Here we have a mitzvah in Parshat Teitze which has inspired thoughts and ideas for centuries, ever since it was written. What is really in this particular mitzvah? First of all, what is this mitzvah? It's a simple mitzvah. Somebody's walking in the field, in the forest, and he sees a mother bird, a mother duck, a mother pigeon, for example, a kosher bird, sitting on the eggs. And he wants the eggs. Says the pasuk, Shalech shalachat ha'eim, don't take the mother bird together with the eggs. You first, with a flick of your wrist, you've got to send the mother bird away, and then you can help yourself to the eggs. You're not allowed to take them together. What is this mitzvah all about? Given the fact that the Torah allows us to eat, to shecht, and to eat kosher birds and animals, why would there suddenly be here an interest in sending away the mother bird? There must be a deeper understanding for this particular mitzvah, and that it merits l'man yitav loch v'arachta yomim, on which Chazal say yitav loch means ochel perusehem b'olam hazeh. There are this worldly benefits, v'akeren kayemes l'olam haba, but the mitzvah itself has eternal value. It's for olam haba. So what is going on here? So much has been written on this, but I just want to touch on two particular lines of thinking which I'm interested in. The first one is Samson Raphael Hirsch gives us the idea that actually what we're dealing with here is the relationship between the mother bird and its nest and its young in nature, and symbolizes, if you like, the maternal instinct. Why doesn't the bird fly away when you approach? Because she's bound to her eggs through a built-in maternal instinct. That maternal instinct is so crucial and vital to human existence. The connection between a mother and her offspring, that is something on which the world is built, that when we come across it in nature, we have to show it some respect. It's the dignity within nature of the maternal instinct. Here's an opportunity to express appreciation of it. That is a synopsis of Samson Raphael Hirsch's view. The Sefer Chinuch, explained later on by the Sforno, has got a different derech, which has very interesting modern applications of great importance. They say that actually this has got to do with the principle of sustainability. Sustainability is a modern principle. When we read about it in the press, in the modern world, it's an environmentalist concern. It's something to do with an eco-friendly attitude towards nature, that when you have an opportunity to take from nature, you don't take everything. You don't take as much as you can get. You take enough that you can be satisfied, but there's enough left to generate more for the next generations in the future. To take a long-term view and to do a chesed, and this is what the Sforno says, that this is a mitzvah which is a chesed to mankind. There's no specific beneficiary of this chesed. You're doing it to mankind, to all future generations, by leaving the mother bird. She'll then fly away and make more eggs. So you're making a gesture of, and here comes the important point, of self-restraint. Every human being has got desires to satisfy their own feelings, their own needs, their own pleasures, but to exercise self-restraint, what Chazal call to be mistapek b'muat, that even though you have within your reach to take as much as you want to take, you limit yourself in order to have a view that this is for future generations, that nature itself should not be decimated, just you should be a resource for you in your life. So you see here, according to the Sforno and the Sefer Chinuch, that the mitzvah here relates to a minimal type of chesed, which doesn't cost you anything because this bird is hefker. It's not you're giving away anything of your own. And nevertheless, says the Sforno, l'man yitav l'chol v'arachta yomim, there are this worldly benefits, right? One could say there are environmental and eco-friendly benefits, and there is also b'olam haba. You're doing it because it's a mitzvah. This gives me an opportunity also to look at an interesting Mishnah at the end of Makkas, which is very famous. Rotza HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'zakos es Yisrael l'fikach hirbo lahem Torah mitzvahs. That Mishnah is relating to the question of why indeed are there so many mitzvahs in the Torah, hundreds and hundreds of mitzvahs, and innumerable details of the mitzvahs. Why do we need so many? Says the Mishnah, Rotza HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'zakos es Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give us zechuyot, wanted to give us an opportunity to have zechuyot. We daven on Rosh Hashanah, Avinu Malkeinu Zochreinu L'Zchuyot, that we, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, should give us opportunities to do mitzvahs. Every mitzvah is a zechut. In addition to being a zechut, which simply means that you actually, if you like, in a sense, scored a mitzvah, in addition to that, there's also the idea that l'zakot et Israel means from the word zach, which means shemen zayid zach, which means purity. That the mitzvahs are there to purify us and to refine us and make us better people. If we go into the mitzvah and we have, as Shimshon Raphael Hirsch says, respect and understanding for the dignity of the maternal instinct, and we also have a sense of sustainability and an environmentalist approach to nature, this refines us. We are better people for it. And therefore, Rotza Kadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakas Yisrael, Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to refine us and give us these mitzvahs, and that is a general principle with all mitzvahs, particularly Parshat Teitze, with its multitude of mitzvahs, 74 mitzvahs out of 613, more than 10% of all the mitzvahs in the Torah. And here we have them all in one parsha. What's interesting here is the Rambam says that the key to Odom Haba is to do one mitzvah b'shleimut. To do one mitzvah, mitzvahs are not only quantities of mitzvahs, but quality of mitzvahs. If there are many mitzvahs, different people have got different tendencies, different strengths, different circumstances. Because there are so many mitzvahs, says the Rambam, everybody will find one mitzvah which they can do b'shleimut, which can do it not only in the quantity, but in the quality of the mitzvah. What is shleimut? That you'll do it with all its details, not just be shomer mitzvahs, but be medaktek b'mitzvahs in all its details. You'll do it with the right kavana, with the right intention, not for egoistic purposes, and not shalom lishma, but do it completely for the right reasons. And you'll also do it b'mesirus nefesh, in other words, even if it's beyond your comfort zones and it's difficult to do, you'll do it. And that is to do a mitzvah b'shleimut. And by doing that, says the Rambam, that's the mafteach to Olam Haba. In order to be a ben Olam Haba, the Rambam writes in his commentary to this mission at the end of Makkos, you need one mitzvah in your life that you've done b'shleimut, and that is the mafteach. This is a very fascinating issue. Rashi in this week's parsha goes along a slightly different line, which is the principle of mitzvah goreres mitzvah, which has always fascinated me. Mitzvah goreres mitzvah means that mitzvahs which you think are completely unconnected to each other, actually there is a whole invisible network of links and portals between every mitzvah and every other mitzvah. Every mitzvah has within it, if you like every cell of the body has the DNA of the whole body in it, every mitzvah has the DNA of all the other mitzvahs in it. And therefore there's a portal in every mitzvah leading you to another mitzvah. And Rashi says on the mitzvah Shiloh Haken, he says, because that what is the pasuk after it, Kitivne Ba'is Chodosh, if you fulfill this mitzvah properly, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give you the zechus to do other mitzvahs. Like, for example, Kitivne Ba'is Chodosh, there's a Ma'akel Gagecha, you have to make your home safe and secure, not to make it dangerous. That's another mitzvah. Then if you have a field, not to plant kilayim, and if not to plow with a shav v'chamor yachtav, and if you have clothing, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not to have shatnez and to make tzitzis. All these are blessings from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that they are opportunities for zuchuyot. And if we're davening for anything on Rosh Hashanah, we should daven that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us these opportunities to have as many zuchuyot as possible, that we should be maleim zuchuyot karimon. The Rimon has become a symbol of Rosh Hashanah simply for this one reason, that it's so packed full of seeds. That's what we're asking for, to be packed full of mitzvahs. And there's no better parsha in the Torah than Teitze, which is totally packed full of the most remarkable mitzvahs, and the quantity and quality of mitzvahs is beyond description. I'd like to end with a short story that happened to me many, many years ago, my rabbinical life. I was attending a chasna of a member in the community, and at the chasna, the father of the kala says to me, let me tell you something about how my daughter found this particular shidduch. He said, it's an example of mitzvah goreres mitzvah. I said, really? How does that work out? He said, well, to be honest with you, I'm not a regular weekday going to shul. I daven every morning at home with a tefillin, but I don't always go to shul weekday mornings. But this one morning, even though it was a winter morning, I don't even know in retrospect why I did it. I got out of bed, I went to shul, And at shul, going to shul, incidentally, is a classic example of mitzvah goreres mitzvah, because you go to shul to daven, and there you go to shul, you also will end up not only davening, but you hear kriyas HaTorah, you end up learning some Torah, you look at a Rashi, you look at a commentary, somebody tells you about Torah, not during davening, of course, and then an oni comes, you give him tzedakah, somebody comes and asks you for advice about something, you do a chesed giving somebody advice. On this particular occasion, he said to me, I was told that somebody in the community was sitting shiva, I didn't know about. The next day I went to pay a shiva visit. At the shiva visit I met, he had a very fine, wonderful unmarried son, and I mentioned to him, my daughter, I have an unmarried daughter. Anyhow, the shidduch was suggested, and here we are sitting at the wedding of this particular couple, mitzvah goreres mitzvah. This is an example of something that happened in my community life. But it's certainly the case that when we engage in mitzvahs, HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens for us the door to do more mitzvahs. Every mitzvah is an opportunity to engage in a deeper connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every mitzvah contains within it a dimension of Ein Sof, a dimension of infinity. And therefore, even though we engage in environmentalist issues because of Ochel Pereseim Ba'olam Hazeh, our this worldly concerns, nevertheless, if we do it with the right kavanah, they are also the concerns of the Borei Olam. He created the world in order for us to benefit from it, in order for us to exist, and He also wants us to look after the world for future generations, and that is the hidden idea between Shalech, Shalachat Ha'im, and if we indeed engage in these mitzvahs in the proper way, Mitzvah Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us the opportunity, Shenirbe Zuchuyotenu Karimoin, that we should be packed full in our lives of opportunities to do mitzvahs, and in that way have Zuchuyot Ein Sof V'chein Yirah.